The 2022 NBA draft is done. Summer League has begun, so I get to cheat on my grades and pretend that I knew everything that we've seen so far from the Summer League from these players. I'll try not to do that. But let's review the draft and the picks and give arbitrary grades. The number one overall pick was Paulo Banchero, so that was actually a pretty big surprise. The broad consensus was that the Orlando Magic would take Jabari Smith uh, over here in Orange, and that did not happen. Instead, they drafted Banchero. I actually like this pick a lot. I think Banchero is not the highest ceiling player, but a player with a higher floor than either Chet Holmgren or Jabari Smith, and also brings a lot of very relevant skills to the league. He does have some downsides. Defensively, he may struggle at times, and he probably has to improve his conditioning a good bit. But you're talking about a guy who has very good low post moves, very good ball handling, very good passing. So, a guy who's not only going to be able to contribute points, but also get assists. So, he's not going to be a black hole in offense. That's very nice to have. My comp for him would be Alperen Sengun. Now, Sengun didn't go in the top 10 last year in the NBA draft, but I think if there was a redraft, he probably would have. Sengun's shown tremendous offensive skills, and that's what I look at, for Banchero. The three-point shot probably is a year or two away from being consistent in the NBA, but I think he will get there. And then you're talking about a guy who will probably be able to score on all three levels and also facilitate the offense. And I'm assuming he's going to play the five. If not right away, then eventually. And if your five can do that in the modern NBA, that is very useful. You draw the opposing big out, you allow slashers, you have up to 5 3-point shooters on the floor. That's really nice. So I give that pick an A. That was the right pick to make, even though it was controversial. Number two is Chet Holmgren, who was certainly the most divisive pick in the draft. You can just see by this photo that there are two things that stand out about Chet. One is he's very long, and the other is he's very skinny. And the concern is everybody is gonna kind of push him around on, when he's trying to defend somebody one on one, he's going to get moved a lot and he's going to get dunked on a bunch. So that's going to be a pretty big concern. He did already flash some very good shot blocking instincts in Summer League that carries over from college as well. As a help defender, especially, he's probably going to be pretty impactful and he will pick up some very nice blocks. He has good recovery time, good coordination, etc. So that's really good. I've used that term a lot. Offensively, he can hit a 3-point shot, but his numbers don't indicate that he's particularly reliable from three. The free throw shooting also isn't quite there yet, in terms of being a really reliable shooter. He gets compared to Porzingis, but I would say that it's Porzingis on an off night, shooting wise. Better comp on offense is probably Jason Smith, a guy who can hit a 3-point shot, but who you don't necessarily want taking a bunch of them. Defensively, the Porzingis comparison is actually there. Again, really good help defender. Will pick up some blocks. Uh, at times, will probably defend one on one well, and should get stronger. A couple years down the line, maybe he's a better defender one on one. Able to hold against opposing players. Right now, though, honestly, like Kyle Lowry can put him in the post and destroy him. Number three is Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith is about 6'10" and can shoot the ball really well, and that's why he went number three. Because that's why he was actually supposed to go number one. Because if you're 6'10" and have a really nice shot and are mobile, which again he's mobile, that's a nice skill set to have. I wish I was 6'10" and could shoot and was several years younger and was mobile, but Jabari is. That means he has a big role in the NBA. Comparable here for Jabari is probably Rashard Lewis, more mid-career Rashard Lewis. He comes in, I think, more ready to contribute than Rashard Lewis did early in his career. Defensively, he should be, at the very least, league average. There's definitely potential there to be a lot better than league average as a defender, but he, at the very least, should really not be a liability on defense. So, downside for Jabari, he's not that good yet at creating his own shot. He really needs other people to create that shot for him. And, outside of the shooting and reasonable defense, there's not going to be that much else that he really gives you right away. That could develop over time, but right away, he's a spot-up shooter. Maybe, well, Tim Thomas is more of a maybe a worst case scenario, relatively speaking. But I expect that he'll be solid. In Houston, again, Singens there, he facilitates offense. A lot of the defensive attention is going to be on Jalen Green, which means that he's not going to face a lot of doubles. He's going to get some open shots. And if he gets open shots, he's going to make a bunch of them because he really can shoot. So I think he'll be a very good fit in Houston. It's a right pick. By the way, Chet, I'm going to give a B minus as the grade. He's not the guy I would have picked there for OKC. The Jabari pick, I'm going to give an A plus. That should have taken 10 seconds. Basically, I hope that Houston just looked at and said, Thunder took Chet Holmgren. All right, we take Jabari. Easiest decision to make ever. Number 4, and this is where I think you really had, again, your top 3 and then your next 2. So number 4 is Keegan Murray, and that surprised a lot of people. Even though there was some talk that the Kings really preferred Murray to Ivy due to the pick, or due to the fit rather. The Kings having 2 guards, I think, relatively established, much more so De'Aaron Fox than anybody else. But I think that they really wanted to go in the direction of getting a forward, getting a guy who could come in and reliably contribute right away. I think Keegan Murray is that player, and I think he has a relatively low ceiling, lower than these other 4 guys. I don't see him as being more than maybe PJ Washington, maybe a little bit better than PJ Washington, but around PJ Washington level. He's a guy who has range that stretches out to 3, can do a lot of things for you, doesn't necessarily do anything spectacularly well, but will contribute. For the Kings, you have to really ask, though, is that what they want and is that what they need? Where are they at? They're not a team that's ready to make a serious playoff push yet. And so how does Keegan Murray help them as opposed to going for Jaden Ivey, who has really all-star potential, just is much more dynamic player, and you could where you could move Mitchell to the bench or trade him, frankly, and go with Ivy, who looks like a phenomenal prospect. So I don't like this pick so much. I think Murray's going to be a solid but unspectacular NBA player. I would give this pick a C minus, though. I don't think it's the right pick. Number 5, then, Detroit getting Ivy is just fantastic. This, again, should have been about 10 seconds. It should have been. So Kings took Murray. All right. We're going with Ivy. End of story. Absolutely no second guessing this one whatsoever. He actually fits exceptionally well with Cade Cunningham, who's more of a cerebral distributor, and Ivy is much more of a dynamic physical scorer. So this is, frankly, maybe the best possible fit for Ivy. And he did roll his ankle in the summer league. I don't know. I hope that's not going to be a lingering issue for him. I really expect that he's going to have a somewhat immediate impact. I'm thinking like a Donovan Mitchell style immediate impact. I think that he could be the second best player in this draft. So this is an A plus grade. It is clearly winning for the Detroit Pistons. So those are my top 5 grades, and I'll do another video where I go through the rest of the lottery.